Hi, my name is Chloe Willard. I am a social work student at Savannah State University in the Masters of Social Work program. I have my bachelor's in social work also from Savannah State University, and today I just want to talk about microaggressions and what you can do as a bystander to microaggressions. So first things first, we need to define some important definitions. Microaggressions are defined as everyday slights, insults, or actions that express prejudice or bias towards marginalized groups. Marginalized groups is another important definition to define, and that term is defined as communities of people who have experienced discrimination or exclusion based on their characteristics. So some examples of marginalized groups can include people of color, women, the LGBTQIA+ community, low-income individuals, people with disabilities, seniors, and children. Another term that I feel like is important to discuss here is the microaggressions triangle model, which is a framework that discusses the three perspectives of microaggressions: the recipient, the source, and the bystander. So what do microaggressions look like? I have experienced a few microaggressions in my lifetime because I am a woman, because I am plus-sized, and/or because I'm from a low-income family. I've experienced being told that I can't wear certain clothing because I'm plus-sized and a woman. So, for example, saying that I can't wear slim-fit dresses because of the way that my body looks, or being told that I can't wear pants in certain situations because it's more appropriate for a woman to be wearing a dress. Another example could be having my judgment and experience judged because of my age and/or because I'm a woman. Another example could be, well, you don't look like you grew up poor, meaning that because of the way I present myself, I shouldn't have came from, or I could never possibly have came from, a low-income background. Along with microaggressions that I've personally experienced, I've also witnessed a number of microaggressions. Savannah State University is a historically Black college or university, and in 2022, statistics showed that 82.2% of all Savannah State students identified as African American. And so at my HBCU, I've experienced a multitude of microaggressions towards my African American cohort or my African American friends outside of the classroom. One example of this is individuals being threatened when my African American friends speak. A few years ago, me and a few friends picked up a job where we would go door-to-door canvassing for the upcoming mayoral election. And when we came to one of the doors, my friend, who is African American, wanted to knock on the door because she really liked the decorum. She walked up to the door and she knocked. The individual on the other side of the door became immediately threatened by her appearance as an African American woman. As she began to talk more and more, me and another friend who is African American became concerned for her safety and stepped in. As soon as I started speaking, this man's demeanor changed completely. And that's how I came to the conclusion that this was in fact a microaggression towards my friend because she is African American. Another microaggression that I have witnessed are individuals walking up to the homeless population and saying that homeless people should just get a job. Every year, volunteers assist the Chatham-Savannah Authority for the Homeless in performing an annual count of people experiencing homelessness in a single night. One year when I was participating in this event, I was interviewing a group of homeless individuals, and a drunken man walked up to us and said that these homeless people should just get a job. One final example of a microaggression that I have witnessed are when people walk up to trans or people in the trans community and purposefully call them by the wrong pronouns. When I was in high school, I had a few friends that did not identify with the gender they were born with, and so when they would introduce themselves to people, they would introduce themselves with their associated pronouns. Purposefully using the wrong pronouns against my friends and against people of the LGBTQIA+ community is a microaggression towards transgender people. So what do you do in those kinds of situations when you're a bystander to these microaggressions? It can be very hard to stand by when your friend, family member, classmate, whoever is a victim of a microaggression. So there are 4 main steps that are discussed in the microaggression triangle model. The first one is to remain calm and assess. The second one is to inquire the actions or words of the source, educate the source, and finally, correct unwanted behaviors. So let's go back to the situations where I witnessed microaggressions to just give a more in-depth analysis. Individuals being threatened when African Americans speak. In that situation, me, my friend, and I, who were in the background, we witnessed and assessed the situation, and we determined that it would be unsafe if that friend continued to speak based off of the violent nature that the source was presenting. In those kinds of situations where you feel like your safety is in danger, it's best to just walk away. While it is important to continue on the steps, safety is the number one most important thing to remember in these kinds of situations, because you never want anyone to get hurt, regardless of who you are, what you look like, or what group you present with. Moving on to the example where I discussed individuals stating that homeless people should just get a job. After you assess the situation and make sure that you're safe, you can inquire about the actions and words that the source is using. Are they just saying this because they're uninformed? Why do they really believe that? Did they really mean what they said? These are important questions to ask. That way you know what education this person needs. That leads us right into the third step of educating the source. According to research done in the area, between 40 and 60% of homeless individuals have a job. So saying that all homeless people need to get a job is not a factual statement to addressing homelessness. These individuals may have a job, they're just unable to afford housing in this economy. There are other ways to address homelessness than blaming the source or blaming the person who is experiencing homelessness. The fourth step of correcting the unwanted behaviors after you educate this person is to inform them of other ways that they're able to help the homeless community. Maybe they can help at a homeless shelter or provide resources to these homeless individuals. In the final example of purposefully using the wrong pronouns against the transgender community, we want to make sure, once again, that we assess the situation to make sure that the safety of ourselves and our friends are not compromised. Then we can inquire about the actions and words that the source used against that transgender person. It could just be a situation where they misheard, misunderstood, or mistakenly used the wrong pronouns. These kinds of mistakes happen in the transgender community, and it's not necessarily a microaggression, but rather a mistake. If we determine that they're purposefully using the wrong pronouns, then we can educate them once again. And we need to educate them and let them know that this person identifies with these pronouns and that we must have respect for other people in our community, whether or not we agree with their lifestyles. Finally, we can correct the unwanted behaviors. If this individual accidentally or purposefully keeps using the wrong pronouns with their transgendered friends, then we can correct that by correcting them in their mistakes, and we can continue to educate them. Just because we are not the source or the victim to a microaggression does not mean that we do not have a place in the fight against microaggressions. And being a bystander and fighting for equality against microaggressions is just as important as anyone else who's in the fight. Once again, my name is Chloe Willard, and thank you for listening in on my presentation. If you have any questions about anything I talked about today, I'm going to leave my email at the end of this video. Thank you so much for listening.